confounded. You know, God will speak to us, won't he? And he'll speak to our hearts and direct us. And we've been talking about prayer. We said prayer is simply communicating with God. It's just talking to God like you would a friend. Prayer is simple. It's not hard. And we talk to him to get direction very often. You know, I heard a story just today about a pastor, Bob Palmer, who said that, I think it was his sister, that had gone away from God and backslidden. And she was looking for love, and she was just looking for it in the wrong places. Well, he was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and in Broken Arrow, actually, and his sister, he knew she was in Oklahoma City. And so he just felt compelled to go find her. And how many are familiar with the scripture that says in Romans 8:14 that as many as are led by the Spirit, they are the sons of God? Amen. And that really means, in the word sons is the Greek word weos, which means mature sons of God. So we can be mature sons and daughters of God. We can be led by the Spirit. And you know, that's a real key to living a victorious Christian life, isn't it? To be led by the Spirit. We're all wanting to get our batting average better and better as far as being led by the Spirit. So we make the right choices. We make the right decisions. Well, anyhow, he started from Tulsa, and he's about halfway to Oklahoma City, and it dawns on him he doesn't have an address where his sister is. And he thought, oh my goodness. And he thought, gee, if I had thought of that when I left, I probably wouldn't have left. But he's halfway there, and he realized it. And so he says, okay, God, this has got to be you. And so he says, Lord, you direct me to wherever she is. And so he comes into Oklahoma City, and he's just making turns and just trying to be led by the Spirit. And he came to this housing project. So he stopped there, and he knocked on a door. And lo and behold, his sister was not there. So he went to the door next to him in a housing project. Now, knocks on the door, and his sister is there. And she walks away from him, and he wonders, what's she doing? And she comes back with her coat. And he says, what are you doing? She says, I just went for my coat. I don't live here. I was just visiting this person.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. And here she was backslidden, and God sent him of all I'm telling you, there are probably a million or better that lived in Oklahoma City at that time. I don't know how many, but it's a big city. And here he is. He didn't go to where she was living. God led him to the place where she was visiting someone. At that particular time, hooked up with his sister, got her back home, and got her turned around, got her repented, and got her back with God.
Hallelujah.
You see, this prayer life thing that we have, through this intimacy and this communion that we have with him, he can direct us. He can lead you to make the right choice, the right decision. And the first line of of our guidance is going to come from his word. How many of you know that? That's general guidance. And don't ask God, is it okay to commit adultery? Is it okay to look at pornography? Or is it okay to steal? Don't ask him a dumb question like that. He probably won't answer you because it's in the Word. Hello?
Amen.
It's in the Word. You look there for your general line of direction. And then you can be led by the Spirit. Beyond that, in the gray areas, like which house to buy or which college to go to or which person to marry, Well, the Bible even speaks about that too, doesn't it? It says, don't be unequally yoked together with an unbeliever. So, anyhow, do we have that list, Brent? If you want to put that up for us. The first one is, our close relationship will produce supernatural works like Jesus did. Just like the one I just told you about. Supernatural works. And guidance from God. If you heard about back in World War II, that one battalion that there was a whole church that was praying for a U.S. battalion in World War II. And to every man that was in that battalion, as this church prayed consistently, daily, that the entire group came back, and not one of them was lost. Something similar to that I just heard today. A 95-year-old pastor. I better not think of retiring. This guy's 95 years old. He's still driving his car. Lives out in Akron, Ohio. And he shared that there was a British regiment. So that's 4,000 men in World War II. They had a colonel that led them, and he was a Christian. And he said every day, now this was a command from the lieutenant colonel, whatever. We're going to read Psalm 91 out loud. We're going to read this. And there were probably some unbelievers in that group, but they read Psalm 91 every single day out loud. And do you know, and they were in some heavy-duty fighting. Every single one of them came back alive. Now, some may have been wounded, but they all came back. All 4,000 men came back alive.
Amen.
Glory to God. Now, prayer is powerful, church, isn't it? Take a look at Hebrews chapter 4, verse 14.